Jones family. This is Keith.
And I'm Carol. How you love it?
And guess what? This is another episode of Love Jones. Hey, man, real talk relationship. So listen, we want to invite you in once again, and we apologize for not being available for a lot of our episodes. So once again, we're gonna catch up. So it's on me. We're gonna catch up, and we're gonna get back to our episodes. So let's get some of the formalities out of the way. We want you to join in on our Facebook page. Join in. All you have to do is just search, find Love Jones. You'll see Keith and Carol. Join in. Subscribe to our page as well, and YouTube page. So subscribe to that because that's where all of our videos and episodes are located. So that being said, we've got a very, very, very interesting topic on today. So I want to have my wife share the information that she shared with me, and then we're going to go into the topic and talk about it and see what's going on.
Okay, so before I say this, we want to dedicate this particular episode to Bernard Maston, our brother, and him and his wife Helena. They were our first fans.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
they love Jones, and we would laugh with him,
oh my God,
and they would call us after a show, and we would laugh together. And our brother passed away a little less than 2 weeks ago, so we wanted to dedicate this show to him and to Helena, because I'm sure that she will be watching this when it airs. So we love you so much, Helena, and you know we love Bernard, and so we dedicate Love Jones to him today. Okay, so
all right, let's get at it.
All right, so about 5-6 years ago, I taught a class to some women about being married or just being in a relationship and doing it successfully. And so I came across something that I incorporated into the class, and it's called hair conditioner. And it says a conditioner is something that improves the quality of another matter. Every woman is supposed to condition or improve a man's quality of life. Most men only use shampoo, while women always use shampoo and conditioner. The shampoo is incomplete by itself because the conditioner is the sealant, which I feel is like a covenant, right? So when we connect, we seal and complement each other. The conditioner does several things, though. It detangles.
What's it do?
A woman's first assignment in loving a man is to bring order. The conditioner also stops breakage. The role of a woman who is involved with a man is to stop him from having breakouts and breakdowns.
Dandruff.
The conditioner alleviates dandruff. Signs of death in the scalp. Dandruff always shows itself at eye level, my. So you can see a man when he's starting to die. Life no longer excites him. Therefore, to stop the death process, a woman has to condition him. And conditioner also brings gloss. The role of a woman who is living with her man is to help him shine. Don't minimize him, even though he may not have the job you have. You may make more money. You may be just a little more intelligent than him. You do better with the children. Whatever that looks like, do not minimize him. But it is on us to make our spouse or our boyfriends or whatever our relationship is to make that person shine.
So this teaching that she did was exclusively for the women. But we're going to broaden the conversation. Okay, we're going to broaden the conversation to the fact that it's a formula that is utilized for the purpose of growth, development, protection, right? Mm-hmm. When you're talking about shampoo, conditioning, different things to that effect. So we gotta use it in as a metaphor. So, babe, so here's my question. Okay, so when we're talking about conditioning, we're talking about washing and conditioning. Sinbad used to say washing, you got 6 inches this, and then tomorrow you got 12 inches of hair.
That's called weave.
Okay. So,
I don't think you condition weave. I've never worn
it. You can't do it in 48 hours and have 6 inches of hair, and then you got 12 inches of hair. You just can't do it. So with most men, because I know a lot of women, a lot of women are supposed to, wash and condition. Some men do wash and condition because of the dandruff and dead hair that they have. And, of course, I don't do it because
the shampoo takes care of that.
But the purpose of the shampoo is for what?
It is to clean. It is to get all of the buildup and impurities and everything out of your hair.
Okay. And then the condition is a supplement to the shampoo.
Yes.
Is that right or no?
Yes, it makes it healthy. It makes it manageable. It brings shine. It strengthens the hair, the shaft, the cuticles, all of that.
So, in essence, if you would think about it, it is a formula. Yeah. In essence, it's a formula. So, would you say when we're talking about marriage, relationships, just doing the thing that we need to do, it's a formula.
Yes.
Because it doesn't. If you really think about it, it's two ingredients that formulate as one. Because I've seen shampoo bottles say 2 in 1.
Yes.
That kind of a thing. So if
they
you
don't
really
work well.
They don't. Well, you mean no?
You just need stick with your shampoo and your conditioner, but trying to have them both in the same bottle. At least they don't work for my hair. They don't work well.
Okay.
Sorry. Cutting corners.
Yeah.
Can't do that in a relationship.
So like Pantene. I was looking up Pantene. Pantene. This one particular user says that she used so many different formulas over the years, and she finally came to the right keyword formula. So would you say that in marriage we need the right formula?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We need the right thing. If we're talking about conditioning, development, growth, what have you, it's a point that you really got to realize to yourself that you can't do it by yourself. It's just like the shampoo. The shampoo. You can't just use shampoo without
conditioner.
Right?
Right.
So how do from the aspect of a man, what is it that I need and what is it that we need from your perspective as a woman to bring that formula to the marriage?
Okay. So I was listening probably about 2 weeks ago. I was listening to Will and Jada Smith. They were talking about their marriage. So they went to this whole breakdown about their marriage, which was so sad for me because they have a very distorted view of marriage. And so he was talking about all of the things that he was doing to build wealth, to build his family, to build his children. And so when he finally gave a voice to his wife, when she took her voice, she was miserable. She said she was unhappy. She cried for like 4 days in a row or something like straight. Couldn't get out the bed. She's talking about what toll that took on her. And finally, they came to the realization that everything he was building and everything he was doing, he hadn't stopped to ask her what she thought about it. And so he's building this life based on what he wanted, what he thought was best for the family, as opposed to incorporating her in there. And so that's when their breakdown of their marriage began to happen.
Got it.
And so I thought about that because there's so many men that go out every day and do whatever it is that you do. And even if, and we've discussed this in other episodes, but even if your wife is at home with the children, you still come home, but your physical presence is there, but nothing else. So when nothing else comes home, then that means you can see her running ragged and she needs a break and you're not giving her the break. Or you're making all of these plans that are causing you to shine or causing you to be successful, or you're living out a dream or some type of goal that you set for yourself. You're absolutely seeing it and realizing it, but you never stop to talk to us to see where we fit into the goal. Or you can have your own goals, but what am I giving up to help you be the man that you want to be? Because have you ever asked her, babe, what is it that you want? What do you think? What do you want to do?
Well, if you really think about it, that's something that you and I we had a conversation about that. You know what I'm saying? Because there were a lot of goals and things, you had put a lot of stuff on the back burner, not to get off the subject, it's part of the formula. You put a lot of things on the back burner at the time, but now you're doing things, and we had the conversation. I said, okay, babe, what is it that you want to do? You'd ask me, but how come you never asked me what I want to do? And I was like, you're right. Because we were so in a different mode, in a different formula at that moment. But now our lives have transitioned and now our formula has changed. So now you're doing things, trying to progress in certain areas to have a career and different things, and that career has changed. So now it comes to a point that now, like you were saying, me as your husband, I have to not just be the sealant, but now I have to be the protector, and then I also have to help you grow.
But I think what happened too, and probably in a lot of relationships, what happens is when you said like I put things on the back burner, a lot of times, we think in our head, okay, my husband needs to do this, he needs to do this, he's told me he wants to do this he has to do because he needs this as a man, he has to do this as a man or as a father, as a provider. And so we begin to basically, nurture your dream with you, and we begin to give so much and condition your dream so much that we run out of conditioner.
But would you say it's not so much my dream? Because remember, I started a business and I had to look at it as a twofold. I looked at it as a dream, but I looked at it as the means to provide.
Yes.
Because I was forced, literally. I was forced. Literally, got fired off of certain jobs and different things after 30 days probation. I'm like, what is going on? And the Lord spoke to me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and start this business. But I started it thinking, okay, it was a goal, but it was a necessity. It was something needed at that moment. And a lot of times, just like probably Will was thinking in his mind, I'm doing this as a necessity. But at the same time, she was at a point that she felt, like you said, left out.
Well, there's a difference when it's one thing that's a necessity, but then it continues on with things that really aren't a necessity for us as a family, but it's a necessity for you as a man. And so I think that that's where men kind of trip up a little bit, is that we're conditioning you so much that that's what you're used to, but you're not realizing that we've given so much of the conditioner that should be for the marriage or for the relationship. We've given so much of it that now we are deprived, right?
I get it.
And so then we start having death show up, and then you're looking and talking to us, and it's kind of in the snap, or it's in the demeanor,
it's in the love language, it's in the love relationship, it's in the communication, it's in the intimacy, it's in all of that, and I get it.
So I think that we have to be mindful of making sure that we're conditioning each other. It cannot be one person gets the conditioner and no one else does. So I think if we can be mindful of conditioning each other, it would just alleviate so many problems, because there's so many women that settle into life. They settle into life of just mediocrity because they want to be whatever the husband wants them to be. But what a lot of them don't really realize is that he's gone on doing his own thing. And because you've been sitting there so settled, that's what he's used to. And if that's what he's used to, and if you're not speaking up, he's not going to come home one day and say, well, you know what, I was thinking about something, and since you're always busy with the children, or since you're always taking them back and forth, and since you're always cleaning and cooking and doing all those things, I'm going to give that to you and let you do it. Let me condition you, babe, and you go ahead and do all the things you want to do. 9 times out of 10, a man's not going to come home and say that.
I agree with that. I think at the same time, what we have to do in looking at this whole entire conversation, going back to what I've said, babe, formula. It's the formula of what works. We were talking about it a few minutes ago, and I said, okay, let's do, the analogy, or bring it to, a metaphor. Conversation, that's a formula. Whatever the situation will work, because like you said, you can't have one without the other in order for it to have growth, development, protection, sealant, all of that. So what has to happen in the marriage, there has to be a formula. The formula means is that if there is a disagreement, the formula is that you talk about it. Even if it's not your fault. There's been times, trust me, babe, you got to admit, there's times that you've been mad at me, and then I come to you and say, okay, we need to talk.
Yes.
Because I realize that in order for the marriage, the formula of marriage to work, we have to have the communication. And even if there's moments that you're like, okay, I'll give her a day or two, she mad or whatever, And so I was like, okay, babe, we need to talk. We have a conversation, and we figure out what we need to do. Now, trust me, it doesn't It's not going to always work that way, but as long as the formula is activated.
Yeah.
That's shampoo and conditioner. The only way that the shampoo and the conditioner is going to come out of the bottle, it has to be intentional. Remember we're talking about that.
Yeah.
That means you got to squeeze the stuff out of the bottle and put it on your hair. Okay, prime example. If we having problems in the marriage, we have to be intentional. That means we have to squeeze ourselves out of ourselves to come into the conversation and say, okay, we had an argument. What are we going to do to formalize the situation to bring it back where it needs to be so we can grow?
And that's what I call deep conditioning. There are times in the marriage that you're going to have to do deep conditioning. So I was telling him, I said, you know, I'm trying to get my hair to do a certain thing. Mm-hmm. And so in trying to get my hair, I've gotten older, and so the texture of my hair has changed. And so because that's changed, so see, that even goes into the relationship. As relationships get older, you've been together a long time, you start settling and getting comfortable, and you know some things really need to be dealt with and you just haven't yet. And so my hair, as I've gotten older, has changed. The texture, a lot of things have changed. And so what has happened is, as my hair has changed, I had to change conditioners. And so I've never bought I don't like the drugstore type conditioners or anything. And so I know that the more expensive conditioners work best for me, so I have to make that investment, right?
Right.
You make the investment, and so you're making the investment in what you know works for you. And so in order to get my hair where I want it to be and to be able to get familiar and start to be comfortable with where my hair is now going, you know, past 50 years old, I had to deep condition.
Right.
And so the deep condition is a longer process. The deep condition means that I have to apply it, and then it's going to need some heat. So there's going to be that moment where it's going to be uncomfortable because you apply it, and with the heat, you have to put a cap on. And so you're sitting there, you're hot, you have this cap on, you know, and it's longer than you really want to be under the hair dryer or whatever. So that is a process. And I told him,
I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could sit under that heat.
And it's not, but the great part about it is it's not all the time. I'll do a deep conditioner like once every other week. So it's not all the time, but at the end of the day, to acquire the result that I want in the end, I have to put in the time, and I have to be uncomfortable sometimes.
So in essence, you're saying there are times being uncomfortable, but at times you got to go deep, because I think a lot of times we have surface conversations.
Yes.
You know, we have surface fixes.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, it's like, oh, we glaze over that and just keep it moving. No, sometimes you got to go deep.
Yeah.
In order for growth to come forth.
Yes, and then we wonder why we're not getting the desired results that we talked about or wanted, because we are not willing to apply the pressure. We're not willing to apply the heat. We're not willing to, like you said, have that conversation that goes beneath the surface. And so because of the deep conditioning, you know, I believe if I hadn't deep conditioned in this marriage, and you haven't deep conditioned in marriage, I don't think we would be together. Well,
the deep conditioning goes to the aspect of what you said: growth, development, protection, sealing. So when we're thinking about those things,
and gloss,
got to have the gloss, because one complements the other. There have been situations that we have not deep conditioned. Okay, there's times that we have neglected the marriage of doing the necessary things to really push us in development and growth. But then there's times that we have, and I believe that most of you probably haven't deep conditioned. You haven't gone deep in the well. You haven't really thought to yourself, okay, what part of the formula am I? You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, one ingredient is not a formula. When you think about a formula, it is multiple things that make the formula. So you got to ask yourself, what part of you are you the problem to the formula, or are you the solution to the formula?
Yeah.
I think we have to ask ourselves that question, and then evaluate. Go do
and make the investment.
And make the investment.
It is an investment.
Self-evaluate.
And I think that we're so used to, we want everything right now.
Easy.
We want everything to be cheap and inexpensive.
Easy.
And there's times you have to go deeper. It's kind of like when he was talking about it, took me back to all of the recalls on the hand sanitizer.
Oh my
and
God.
so when I looked at the list, because I'm like that, I'm telling you, I just research everything.
She's the Google queen.
Yeah,
I'm just letting you know, I'm the
and
Google
so
queen. She
I'm
Googles
looking
everything.
at it to see,
Oh my God.
what do I have any of that? And so my nephew, God love him, he had bought us a bunch of hand sanitizers.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm sitting
he
in my
overran
office
us.
and
He
everything.
overran us with it.
He
He's so precious.
Listen, he came in like one over here, went downstairs.
Yeah,
and
he
I'm
put one in my prayer room. He put one in his office. He put one in the basement. He put one in my son's room or bathroom. There was one downstairs in the kitchenette. I mean, they were everywhere.
Right.
And so when I looked at and he told me, I said, "Where'd you get all of this from?" He said, "I got it from the dollar store." So I told him, I said, "Now, baby, I don't like to get stuff like that at the dollar store." And that was then when he bought it. And I do that because I'm not sure of the ingredient, and I'm a little iffy. If it's $1,
yeah, the formula,
something, it may not be right. And so, come to find out, all of that stuff that he bought us had been recalled.
Yeah.
And I immediately got in touch with him to let him know if he had any to, discard it. And I said, "Don't buy it there anymore." And he said, "Oh my gosh, wow." And so,
I think you went around and just collected
I did.
them all.
I went and collected every single one and threw them all in the trash. And the crazy thing is, we hadn't really used them because we come strictly in the house and we wash our hands at the sinks and everything. So we hadn't used them, thank God. But at the end of the day, I'm saying that to say, he had the best intention, but he said, "Well, it's cheap, so I'm just going to get a bunch." And that's how we think sometimes about our relationships. We have the best intention, but we want to go the cheap route, or we want to go the easiest route. And so let's say there's a huge elephant in the room and the relationship is kind of dying away, and you know that. But you go and you deal with the topical part, just what's on top, the layer. You don't get beneath. And so you guys think after about 10-20 minute conversation, all is well, but you never discussed what needed to really be discussed. There was no investment, and investment is time. It's time. If you got to sit there for 2 hours and talk, sit there for 2 hours and talk. If it's a part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, have all of the parts lined up, because it's crucial that we understand when we need to do the deep conditioning, which is the deep work, and when it is just, kind of a surface thing.
But babe, I think the honest thing too, when you're talking about time, I think for me, it's not just time, but it's yourself. Yeah. You have to invest. You have to invest you in the situation.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of times we have invested the time, but my time is not equivalent to who I am.
That's good. That's deep.
Because a lot of times I'll give you my time, but mentally I could be checked out.
Right. Exactly.
And so it goes back to what you were saying about complimenting each other and that gloss. The thing of it is that I think that we try our best. Now, the times we fail, but if nothing else, I think that we've done a pretty good job at this, of complimenting each other. When people see us, they're like, "Oh my God, y'all look like y'all should be together." You know what I'm saying? Because we compliment each other. We know how to work off of each other. It's never a situation that I'm more than she is or she's more than me. We try to make sure that when we're out together, that we're as one. We try our best. And I think in a lot of marriages that most people don't do that. They look at themselves, well, she's she and he's he, and
they're
not
separate.
Very separate when it comes to your money, separate when it comes to the children, separate when it comes to your love, separate when it comes to your quality time, separate when it comes to your work and your career, because there are a lot of situations where the wife will say, "Well, I'm going to get my degree. I don't care what you're going to do." And so the husband's like, "Wait a minute, hold up. Well, first of all, that's not just time, but that's money. Because now after you get your degree, guess what? You got to pay them loans back."
But you didn't discuss it.
Exactly.
And it's not that you're getting each other's permission, but you have to talk about it because there's going to be change.
And you
both need to know where the change is. So conditioning, let me tell you real quick what conditioning means or what it is. If you're not doing that now, conditioning is the thing as small as hearing, and not just listening. You have to hear. I hear what you're saying. I hear you, babe. And then you respond to that person, and I feel that the response that I get back means you heard me. And so you have to make sure that you're hearing. You have to make sure conditioning to me is something as small as, okay, I conditioned him Friday because, at the beginning of Love Jones, he was furloughed from his job because of COVID-19.
No, we had time.
And
we
so now I'm not working. And so he's back at work. And so he is very adamant that he wants to help me around the house.
Yep.
And he wants to help me clean the house.
Yep.
And so I've given him like 3 things that I want him to do every week. And because he was at work, I did it for him. And so he was a little upset because he said, I want you to let me have, that opportunity to help you because that's a lot to clean.
I was upset about that.
But I told him, I said, but you also have to go to work in the morning and you work late tonight. So I want you to come home and I want you to take your shower, have dinner. And if you want to watch sports, if you want to just get on the sofa and watch a movie, or if you just want to go to sleep, whatever it is you want to do, I want to give you the opportunity to do it. And so that was me conditioning. That was me as a wife saying, he's at work, he's working hard, he's got to get up and go in the morning. And then Sunday, he's got to preach. And then he's got to do a sermon on Saturday night. So I was looking ahead at what I knew he had to do, and I wanted to make it easier for him.
But at the same time, I think not just the conditioning piece, you were complimenting me.
Yeah.
You were kind of balancing out what I had to do because I made that commitment to you. I was upset. Yeah, I was. But at the same time, I appreciate it. I'm saying this right here on Love Jones. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate my wife because she does. She has a spirit of heart, of servitude, to love people, and she loves hard. So the thing of it is that when I have to allow myself to pull back and say, okay, even though I was upset because I committed that, I pulled back. I didn't go, just to the left or what. I just let it be because I understood what she was trying to do. She was trying to compliment what I was trying to do. And then vice versa. It should be the same. If we see that our wives are overwhelmed, we see things are happening in the house, don't sit up there and get on the game. Don't sit up there and watch the NBA and TV binge. Compliment your wife.
So what does condition say? What did you say? To all the things that condition are. You think about it like that.
Development,
So
sealing.
do those things that help each other grow. Your conditioning. Do the things that will seal the deal. If you know that you can do this 1 or 2 things that will seal the deal. And when I say seal the deal, like with him, just make his night better or give him some extra time. Or, make things a little easier for him, then that's what I need to do. Or
just like a few minutes ago, we were talking about dinner and I know she's cooking and I was like, babe, you know what? I can cut up the cheese or I can help you cook. She's like, no, I got it.
No, I got it.
But see, if that's the thing. Even though she refuses, I still offer it. Because that's part of the condition. That's part of the formula that we put in place for our marriage. So condition
softens. So if you are dealing with someone that's a little abrasive, soften them with your words. There's a way you can talk to them. If you hear it, love them enough to go to them. I say all the time, I surround myself with people that will tell me the truth about me. Because sometimes we don't see that ugly side of us. Sometimes we don't, as we say, smell it. So I need you to tell me you stink right there. You got to come out and get yourself together. And that is what conditioning is. And then if it's something that is a normal part of the relationship, then it's not offensive to you when it happens. So there's so many things that we can do to condition each other, to make each other better, manageable. Conditioner makes it manageable.
Right.
It's
gloss.
healing.
Let's gloss each other. You know what I'm saying?
So there's a lot that you can do.
Let's make each other look good.
Go deeper within yourself and find out what is it that I'm not doing, what is it that I could be doing to make this relationship better. But you can't make a relationship better until you're better.
True.
So first do a self-examination and say, what can I do to make me better? And then once you see that, then you can make the relationship better. And don't be afraid to hear from your significant other that you a mess right there. You need some conditioning.
You need some conditioning and some shampoo. You need to cleanse yourself. All right. So listen, we may have to do a part 2 on this because this was pretty good.
If
all
you
right?
guys like it and you want a part 2,
come on.
please
Let us know.
Put it in the comment section.
Comment.
And for those of y'all that know us personally and have our number, text
Yes,
it to me and I will do
come on. And we may, and listen, we're going to have some other episodes where we're going to have other couples coming in, having
after
COVID, you know, all that other stuff and everything else. But listen, we want to say thank you for following us.
Thank you so much.
So listen, I think we're gonna do a part 2. I think this was good. Let's do a part 2.
And you know what? When we do the part 2, I may do it with a visual aid. I don't know, to show you the difference between what it looks like when it's conditioned as opposed to when it's not.
We'll see.
I don't know whose head I'm going to use yet.
You can't use mine because I ain't got none. All right. So listen, thank you, Love Jones family. God bless you. Listen, we'll see you next time right here on
Love Jones. Bye.
Peace.